Oh.
Tired.
I love starting off shows with lots of optimistic moaning. Welcome to Tuhon and Son. It is the end of a long weekend. It's been a long time.
This is a Comic-Con weekend for you.
It is. I was at the Comic-Con, the Montreal Comiccon, the wonderful show that happens but once a year, like Christmas, Easter, and good old St. Patrick's Day. So, at Montreal Comiccon, you got stars coming out, and you got, basically, I've been really into the, just going with my friends. My friends buy a bunch of art and pages and prints and stuff. And if you haven't been to Montreal Comiccon, I suggest you go, because instead of going all the way to San Diego, you go to Montreal. It's smaller, more intimate. It's still big, but you'll definitely get your rocks off. Dad, what's been going on with you?
Well, I've had a meeting with the owner of the building, and we're actually moving for August 1st.
Okay.
Which is going to be kind of awkward because the weekend before, well, it's not even the weekend before, it's a few days before, because August 1st is a Saturday, which means we're supposed to be out of there on the Saturday. And I'm going to probably be in Ottawa on the Sunday because I have a small group that meets once a month, and we're going to be meeting that August 2nd.
Okay. So you're going to have to leave mid-move?
Well,
you're gonna be like, guys, sorry guys. Well, can't you have your meeting? Can't you have your? Hey guys, I have a great idea. How about we had the meeting instead of in Ottawa? We have it in Montreal, and we're gonna try an exercise called lift this box, and it's gonna make you a better martial artist.
Oh well, that's.
It's like, you ever see the Karate Kid? You know how he made a
wax on, wax off.
Paint a fence for like 3 days. Yeah, this is called box in and box out. Yeah. So that's what's happening then. Dad,
we have a few days. We have, as I said, we have the Dog Brothers event, the fourth Canadian gathering. Okay. Which means we're going to be having people coming from all over on the Saturday before, the 25th of July, and we're going to be doing some full contact stick fighting.
Geez, so are you going to be? I don't know.
Are all the other guys going to be beat up?
The gym? Is the other gym at this point going to be like a storage area or something like that? Or?
No, well, we're going to be moving a lot of stuff. Anything we can move, we will. We'll set up as much as we can. There'll be a lot of late hours, but it's like anything. If you don't do it, it doesn't get done.
Who's coming in for this Dog Brothers one?
Well, we've actually, because Grudin in Asanto, our last big seminar, didn't happen until the end of May, it's kind of put us in a position where, we've been kind of reeling, and we didn't get the information until after that point that we were actually going to be moving. So we have not been able to step up to the plate, so to speak, to get it done. So it's 3 weeks from today or yesterday, and we actually haven't done a whole lot of the stuff, but a lot more of our guys are fighting. There are a lot of guys coming in from Ottawa, a lot of guys from Toronto. We have a couple of guys coming in from Vancouver. There's supposed to be some guys who were thinking of coming in from Europe, but seems that we did not get that part of it together enough, so they're not coming.
Okay, well, that's too bad. They'll come next time.
Well, possibly, yeah.
Yeah, but if those of you want to participate in a Dog Brothers gathering, basically, if you, as the wise Stan Lee puts it, as the wise Stan Lee puts it, everybody's every comic book is somebody's first comic book. So to just digress a little bit, a Dog Brothers gathering is where members of the Dog Brothers, including new people who just want to come and fight.
Right.
Yeah.
It's full contact stick fighting. We don't wear much. We wear a fencing headgear, some kind of gloves, maybe some soft padding, and the clothes on our back.
Definitely a mask.
A mask, yeah. Well, one of the things we came up with, a lot of people... there's actually some people in the States that put out a videotape and said, hey, we do full contact stick fighting without a mask. But
they're dead. They're dead now.
No, they're not dead. But if you look at that video, you'd see that they don't hit each other in the head. So it's kind of going, okay, they're friends. I totally get that. But it's this kind of disingenuous thing saying, it's kind of like saying, oh yeah, but we jump off the pier and into the water instead of out of a boat. I know, but the pier is 4 inches above the water. Who cares? Yeah. It's like it's how you present something, and you say, there are a lot of people who bear, I won't say jealousy, but they act in ways that are just kind of, we've never said, hey, look at us, we're so special. It was when we started doing this, it was a bunch of guys who had been told how dangerous and deadly stick fighting was. I mean, that sticks are so dangerous that they'll kill you if they hit you once. And when I first started, we used to wear headgear, really, really heavy steel headgear, and body protection, like thick felt pads, but no gloves. For some reason, we had no gloves. And so we had all this equipment on, and we were supposedly going to, we were training, because we just would know that if one strike to any part of our body and the body would explode. And of course, that never happened. So it was actually...
Picturing you guys walking around a bunch of clunky armor like the end of the first act in Iron Man 1 when he's getting out of the cave.
Yeah, well, sort of the idea, yeah. So anyway,
I'm also picturing those like giant inflatable sumo suits.
Well, but what happened is that the first thing we did was get rid of the body armor. And then it took a few years later, and then the guys stepped up and started wearing what actually were decommissioned fencing masks, because most fencing clubs were allowed to use a fencing mask in their fencing until such time as it became decommissioned, which meant that it was no longer suitable to be worn in training or in fencing, because they would use the foil or the épée or the saber and if the mask couldn't handle the pressure, it would break and somebody would die. So that was a big no-no. So they would decommission these masks, and that's what we would look for, because people would give these things away. It wasn't so much that, we were so tough. No, we were looking for cheap stuff. And when I was in Montreal doing it, a group of people that I was working with at Concordia University offered me access to some fencing masks that had been decommissioned from a fencing club that had existed there some years before. It doesn't exist there anymore. And so we had those things, and that's it was pretty much, whatever happened. And when in the first Dog Brothers thing, it was very much like I think we had hockey gloves, but eventually we evolved into stick hockey gloves, because hockey gloves are, by what they are, they're made to hold a hockey stick with two hands mostly.
Yeah.
And so if you have two hands, you can, it doesn't matter how, because the hockey glove is created as a way of stopping somebody from grabbing you.
Yeah.
Or
not directly like, hey, don't hit my fingers, but if you want to get on some skates and whack people in the head very effectively, you get yourself some hockey gloves.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of that. And so we evolved at the point where, it was, there were guys who were literally, they were literally wearing as little as possible, wearing short sleeve shirts. And, of course, the appearance of stick hickeys would be very big, because when you'd hit somebody with a stick, a rattan stick, it's not a piece of bamboo, hollow and non-substantial.
No, it hurts like hell. I've seen some pictures of one of your boys all full of welts, and he's, looks pretty painful.
Well, it seems worse than it is. I mean, quite honestly, between you and me, I would rather get hit with a stick.
And hundreds of strangers on the internet. It's funny when on a podcast, you're like, between you and me, and,
and anybody who's listening.
And anyone who's listening, potentially thousands of strangers.
I would rather get hit with a stick than kicked by a Thai boxer. Because Thai boxers, when they kick you, they kick right through your outer shell of muscles and right down to the bone.
Yeah.
And you can have a hard time. I mean, there's one guy who was known as a leg breaker. I mean, like literally his kicks were so hard that he would break Thai boxers' legs. I wouldn't want to run into one of those guys. Most of the time, in a Dog Brother match, there are people, break a finger, maybe break an arm. Renee broke an arm once doing that stuff, a couple of fingers. But, very rarely do people get really, really badly injured. And
yeah. Well, yeah. So the Dog Brothers, don't think you're not coming back alive if you come to the event. It's generally a good time, and I just want to specify that at Dog Brothers gatherings, there's a real respect and real brotherhood type of vibe, sisterhood. I mean, we got men there, we got women there, and everyone's tough. But you know that they don't come in with an attitude because, as you said before in other episodes, it's not about really who wins. You know, there is no winning. It's just about.
Yeah, it's about doing the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I say it's not about winning, I'm like picturing these stupid soccer games they have now where they don't count points. I'm like, I don't think it's like that, but it's you whack and stuff, and then everyone goes out after. And this one time, we all went to Mad Hatter's, and it was hilarious because I said, "Is there?" I might come with a really large group of people, and they're like, "Yeah, that's cool," and we show up with like 40, and the other waitress is like, God, when she showed up later, she's like, wish someone would have told me. And I'm thinking the person picked up the phone was probably like, awesome, I'm gonna get like 40 tips. You know? I can handle this.
I just have to run back and forth to that bar.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, they ended up giving you guys like a bottle of Jack Daniels or something.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I didn't drink that stuff.
No, I know you didn't drink it, but one of the times we did show up for Mad Hatter's, and it's a good place. They got some food, which is important for the fighters, and they got some beer, which is even more important for the fighters.
Yeah, because that's kind of like medicine.
Yeah, bad medicine.
Yeah.
It's a shame that we're not doing this all in the new gym because it would be. I know, the situation is a situation, but it's like it would be kind of coincidence to just expose the gym because there'll be like a crap load of pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's like I know what our gym now can do.
Okay.
And it's already set up to do it.
You're right, Dad. Never go into battle with an untested, unproven weapon. You're totally right. I retract my statement.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, I regret that. I totally I get that. And, it would have been really nice. People talk about, make nice comments about the new gym. And as they would go, oh, wow, yeah, the new gym. Oh, wow, Gamma's at a new gym. Yeah, all right.
It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt you to kind of be like, "Hey guys, do you want to see the new gym?" Like at some point, at the end of the day.
And that's some point through the day, but maybe afterwards.
Maybe like have your ceremony in the new gym. Like some new karma.
Hey, something that's a really good idea
because it gives everybody an excuse to go to the floor. Get them familiar with the new settings, and take all the pictures in the new gym. Because if you take the pictures in the new gym, then it's not, people know what the gym looks like.
Hey, good idea.
Yeah, and then we'll have a screening of Kickboxer with Jean-Claude.
Stick boxer.
Stick boxer. Is there a stick fighting movie?
Yeah, but they're really horrible.
Okay, I figured.
There's a lot of movies made in the Philippines that have a stick fighting base, but they're not really. Actually, well, there's a couple of them, a couple of Dan Inosanto appearances in movies, and there's one with
some fight. What's that giant name again?
Steven Seagal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but there is that one. He played Sticks in it. I think it was Hard to Kill.
Okay.
And then, but there's actually a guy. There's a half Filipino guy that learned from Guru Dan in a prison movie. What was it with a comedy?
Yeah. Well, Dan was in. I don't know about that. I mean, it's called Big Stan, and or Rob Schneider. And
Rob learned stick fighting from him.
Well, yeah. So Rob Schneider, what happens in this movie, everybody? And you can watch it on YouTube. So or a trailer. So I guess I don't have to eat up showtime talking about this, but I want to say it anyway because I'm telling Dad right now. Is that Rob Schneider? What happens is he's a scam artist and he sells fake crap real estate, and he's he's fraud and all that stuff. Then he gets arrested and he's going to prison, and he's this tiny guy, and they're like, they're gonna eat you alive, they're gonna rape you, and he's like, I gotta learn how to fight quickly.
Have to get hard. Wrong movie. Sorry.
So he learns how to fight from David Carradine, or the guy from Kung Fu. And in the yard at some point, he's proving himself right by beating the crap out of everybody, so he can be Big Stan and no one will screw with him, And be in the process of him being the crap out of all the bullies is that he kind of is in charge because he's the toughest guy in there. And he's a nice guy. So he's like teaching him, hey, let's be better. But anyway, at some point, this random chef guy comes out and attacks him for a second. And I'm like, well, that guy looks really familiar. And I don't want to be racist to say that all Filipino dudes look alike or anything like that, but I'm like, but it turns out I'm not a bigot, and that was Guru Dan. So, you know, so that familiarity wasn't out of ignorance at all. It was out of the fact that I know Danny. It's just I'd never seen his face so like, wah, you know. Yeah, he's always like a smile and really like, you know, gentle features and stuff. And at this point, he was like full tilt. I'm gonna kill you. Yeah,
He was cooking with gas.
I saw the second season of Men Behaving Badly. You must die. That's actually not fair. Men Behaving Badly season 1 is still some of the finest TV I've ever seen when it comes to like sitcoms, especially for its time. Like everything's about men being jerks and pigs and sexist and all that kind of stuff. But back then, that was kind of like, you know, it was a new breed of dirty sitcom. Yeah. But so anyway, that's that. So I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know. We've been talking about for about 15 minutes. I'd say another 2 minutes and we'll wrap up this show.
Okay, well, I want to find out what was happening at Comic-Con this weekend.
What was happening at Comic-Con weekend? Dad, I will tell you a story about a man named Jed. And I was going to go on with the lyrics, but I forgot what they are.
Poor mountaineer, barely kept his family fed.
Yeah.
Then one day he was shooting up some food, and then up to the ground came up.
You know, Google can answer these questions you have.
It just goes to show you that I did come from a time when people used to know this song.
Yeah, they used to have to memorize it by like watching it when it aired. Okay, so on Friday night, we went to, besides going to Comic-Con and all the excitement, we went to go see Kevin Smith. Now, Kevin Smith came to do an evening with, meaning he does very long shows. He does Q&As. Shows can change. Sometimes he tells the same stories, but only when he's asked. And I was waiting in line to ask a question. So I hesitate for like a minute. Three people hesitate for another second, another 4 people. There's 2 different lines of questions, so they go from line 1, line 2, line 2. And so someone would ask a question, they go off on a 20-minute tangent. So this show turned out to be like 3.5 hours long. Now, I was about to ask my question, Dad, and I was rehearsing it the whole time. I'm like, I have all this time to think. What question will I ask and stuff? And I was thinking, do I go like dark? Like, do I say, because Kevin Smith has a podcast called Fat Man on Batman where he talks about Batman, and an old friend of his, Ben Affleck, is going to be Batman. You know, he's going to direct his own Batman movie later on, and that is Ben Affleck. So that's cool. That's like the director of The Town doing a Batman movie, which is super cool. So he's about to. I'm about to ask, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I ask? Do I ask this question like? Because, sorry, I keep interrupting myself, but Jennifer Gardner, Ben Affleck's wife, does not like Kevin Smith, and as a result, they haven't seen each other in a couple of years.
And then they're getting a divorce.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, and I was thinking about this. I was going to say, not that I take any delight in the unfortunateness of anyone's personal life, but as a Fat Man on Batman fan, one of their biggest, I am just curious if, considering Ben is getting divorced, does that mean he's allowed to come over and play again? And I was thinking that. I'm like, he's got a good sense of humor, and he probably would answer this and I'll be good. But I was also thinking, because he kept talking about podcasts, and he's like, just do it. Just have one. You have a parent or something like that, have one. Talk to them on tape. And I'm like, oh, that's a great topic. I could say that to him. I could tell him about this show. I could tell him about Tuhon and Son and how Dad and I, have known each other my whole life. And this is the most we've ever talked. We have like 31 documented hours proving we speak, and that's more than I can say between the years of 95 to 2000, definitely. So I'm about to ask, and all of a sudden, the breath of my mouth, I was about to breathe into the microphone, and they cut him off, and they said,
that's it.
That's it. It's too late. It's 12:30 at night. The show started at 9:30. It was almost 1, and they're like, "That's it, Dad." I was standing up to wait in line for 3 hours. My legs were killing me.
Aw.
This is after all day. This is after working from 6 in the morning until I got off early that day.
Did you let other people in line in front of you? Or?
No, not at
okay.
all.
Okay.
Not at all. But Dad, I was the last one.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I think there was someone behind me, but he was already kind of checking out. Like, all right, I'm probably not going to get asked. But Dad, I wanted to ask this so badly. I want to say I'm a child of privilege. Not like Hillary from the Fresh Prince or anything like that, but I'm a child of... I had a mom and dad that loved me a lot, and I wanted a Nintendo 64 for Christmas, and Mom, who has an amazing ability to lie to my face, can give me this impression that I'm not going to get one until the very last minute, making Christmas even more exciting, you know? Like, will they, won't they? We'll find out your gift after these messages. You know, like I'm a kid that generally, like, you know, in hindsight, I'm a white kid from Canada. I haven't starved for much. So I'm thinking this. I'm like, I have a great life. I have a wonderful girlfriend. I have wonderful parents. I have a good situation. I'm healthy. But I am so bummed that I couldn't ask my hero a question. Like, I don't have any more musical heroes. I used to worship musicians. Then I became a musician. Then I kept being a musician. And after years, you realize, you're like, you know what? What they do is not that different from what I do. They're just better at it and they get paid more, but there's no point on worshiping them. I'm sure sometimes you feel that way when you're starstruck over martial arts stuff, and then after being a martial artist, it's like, oh, they're just people who do this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's very true.
So when I was in Toronto, and the reason why this double burned me is that Melissa and I went to Toronto for his podcast called Hollywood Babylon, and and what you do is you send in these things called shout outs, and you ask something. And I asked him something, and I'm like, haha, I'm in a Batman costume right now, because him and the co-host write a comic series called Batman 66 Meets the Green Hornet, which is a sequel to that actual episode that Bruce Lee was in on the Batman Adam West show. And so I'm like, I'm in a Batman costume and stuff like that. Because I just, I'm thinking, okay, that would be funny to say. And, it would probably, if anything, would get the shout out read. It would be that. And nothing. Because there was 2,000 people in that room in Toronto. And I'm sure they all sent in stuff. And sometimes you get lost on the wayside. Sometimes the internet thinks you're spam. Sometimes, a lot of things happen like that. So between... sitting here, for 2.5 hours, sweating my ass off in Toronto in a Batman suit, and then about to breathe into the microphone, so needless to say, on the way home, I was just a little, I wasn't weeping or anything like that, but my Christmas spirit was gone. And it was gone the next morning, too, and it only really was all right yesterday when I bought a really cool Batman robe from Styling Online. Tower of T-shirts.
I saw this. I saw all these people in the metro
in
the last couple of days with Styling Online Tower of T-shirts bags.
Yeah.
Coming back, I guess, from Comic-Con.
They do great stuff. StylingOnline.com. They're good people. James Styling runs that company. He's a good guy.
Oh, I thought it was like a styling,
Yeah, well, that's his internet handle. I don't know. Anyhow, they're at the San Diego Con. It takes them a week to set up because their display is so epic. So yeah, that's crazy. I did interview. Anyway, on a happier note, just to not to leave everyone to downers and stuff like that. And I'll get all these comments. It's like, shut up! You just didn't talk to him. Big deal.
He didn't talk in 3 movies.
Yeah.
You're such a clerk.
But I will say this though, Kevin Smith is a man that he is single-handedly the influence behind the show. His podcast, Batman, it gave me the idea. It gave me the idea that, hey, Dad and I should have a podcast because I want the internet to know about Dad. And what's funny is that in this episode, I did most of the yabbering and stuff like that. So it's called Tuhon and Son Talks to Mahon. I don't know. There you go. I haven't slept much. Jason had a Jason had a gathering last night, the last gathering in his apartment before he gets married, and but anyway, yeah, Kevin Smith would be, I'm not gonna. It's not his fault, and the Comic-Con people they're all getting up at like 6 a.m. to go like make sure the con runs in the morning and stuff like that, and it's not like they're like, oh, he's at the microphone, fuck this guy. They just had to stop it, and it was unfortunate that it happened to be me, and I was mid-breath. I was even clearing my throat. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I did, however, interview the guy who is the voice of Wolverine for the past 10 years and various things like Hulk versus Wolverine, Wolverine and the X-Men, the video games, X-Men Legends and all that. Very cool stuff. And I interviewed him today, and that kind of put a smile on my face. Because usually people at Comic-Con, they're like, no f***ing cameras. But this time around, I don't think there was as many people asking for autographs and stuff. And I think they were all a little bit dispirited. So I should have taken advantage of them. I should have moved in like a jerk and being like, oh, it's okay. That guy will never hurt you again. Here's some dinner. Yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, so I don't know. Do you have anything a positive spin on this, Dad? Have you ever done anything Comic-Con related?
I don't know. I've always been rather shy, so the idea of not having to speak in front of people is almost like a blessing for me. As I've mumbled and chewed rocks and stuff like that. I mean, I have had so many disasters. I remember years ago.
All right, Dad. I don't know. We lost our recorder there for a second, but we're just gonna finish it off. Like here, I was whining about stuff, but I'm just like, I'm gonna see. You could tell it's been like 4 seconds, and there was sure panic in my voice when I thought we lost that whole episode. Because I'm like, wake the f*** up, Brian. You're gonna have to record all that again. But in general, you know what? It was an alright weekend. And Dad, you're going to Las Vegas this weekend for the Catch a Kimbo.
Catch a Kimbo gathering, yep.
Yep. So anybody who's at this Catch a Kimbo gathering and you're hearing the show and stuff like that, if you like the show,
shout out to you, man.
Yeah. If you like the show, definitely tell Dad to tell me and stuff like that because I don't know. I have I've been working real jobs and stuff like that. Like I usually make most of my money doing cinematography stuff, but I have like one of those all-day construction jobs, and it'll motivate us to do more episodes when you're like, hey man, I like this show, that's cool,
Hey Ryan, I like this show, it's cool.
All right. Now they're right off into the sunset.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, that's the end of our show today. I'm Rootin' Tootin' Ryan Stick, and here's
I'm the
here's Sumble here's Sumble mumbling Philip Tuhon jail now.
Well, hush my puppies. Yeah, it sure gets lonesome out there in the saddle night after night, especially since my horse died
of pneumonia. Not gunshot related. It's ever since my horse died of old age. So anyway, from all you here, all us here at Tuhon Song, we just like to wish you easy riding, slim pickings. Actually, no, slim pickings is bad, right?
Yes, that's not much.
We wish you slim pickings, cloudy skies, itchy butts,
and rain every day.
rain. All right, that was this Tuhon and Son. I'm Ryan Stickshaw now,
and I'm Tuhon Philip Shilling,
and we are proud that you listened this long. In fact, the next time if you comment on this, comment the words some kind of code to prove you listened to it all.
Kevin Smith was wrong.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's not Kevin's fault. It's not even Comic-Con's fault.
But it's to prove that you listened to the show.
You know what? You know what? In life, when you want to ask a question, don't hesitate. There you go. That hesitation cost me like 2-3 people. I will say this though. Right before we go, and no offense to the kid, like the kid will never hear this, but and I say kid, I'm really emphasizing this. This guy asked a question. How did you come up with Silent Bob? And to Kevin Smith's intimate audience, that is the story you can hear on any DVD he's ever done. And the information is
I have no words to
everywhere.
describe it.
But you don't know how he came up with. So think about it now. You don't have a.
So 8,000 people in the audience, and 7,999 of them know exactly the story.
Yeah, but the kid didn't, and he said he was like 18, and I'm like, okay, so
Next.
yeah, exactly. All right. So that's the end of our show today.
Okay.
All right.
Well, hoo-yee-ha.
Yeah, we need that guy. We need that Oscar music to start playing. Like, wrap it up, wrap it up. All right. All right. Good night. Good night.
Good night.